Start it up.
Good morning. Well, it's morning here where I am, so I hope it's morning where you are. All right, it is finally time to do the pre-inspection inspection, and I have Mr. Larry here to help me out with that. We're gonna walk through it just a little bit verbally, first and foremost, and then we're gonna actually go and do. So what's the first couple of things that we need to do, Larry?
Well, the first thing we'll do is we'll check the lights, the headlights, the tail lights, the side marker lights, high beams, windshield wiper function, horn, all that sort of thing which you control from the inside that they want to make sure actually works.
Okay.
And after that, we'll probably check the suspension components, the tie rod ends, the ball joints, and then we'll put it up on the lift and check whatever else needs to be checked.
Okay. So where do we start? You want to start with the
We start with the inside.
All right. You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
I tell you what, why don't you stand out here and see that they work, and I'll work the controls.
Okay. And you call it out to me?
I'll call it out through the window as we go.
Okay. All right. What's first?
All right. First thing, headlights. And when you turn the headlights on, of course, the marker lights should also come on.
The marker lights. That's these guys right here?
The ones in the corners, yes, sir.
Okay. So headlights are on.
Okay.
Hold on. Right. That marker light is out the left passenger side, and the right driver side is out. Okay.
We'll do the back
in a moment. Okay.
Yeah, let's do all the front stuff.
Okay.
High beams next.
Okay. High beams work.
Okay. Horn.
I think that works.
I think so too. Wipers. Wipers move.
Yep.
Okay. We'll check the condition of the wiper blades here in a few minutes when
Okay.
we get done in here.
All right.
All right. So while we're in here, while it's running, we check for, well, we've got a check engine light.
Oh my.
So we're going to have to address that.
Okay.
And we've also got a tire pressure
That's
light.
That's
a
this-
little
that's-
tire-looking
that's
thing with the
that guy
exclamation
right
point.
there.
Right.
Okay.
Here's your high beam indicator. No,
Okay.
I take that back. That's your headlight indicator, marker light indicator.
Okay.
And we're low on fuel.
I think we need some fuel.
But that's not part of the Missouri State inspection, and neither is that. It's good to know, but not testable.
All right.
Okay, so we can turn it off. Let's see. Oh, now we got to go to the back.
All right.
We'll do pretty much the same thing. Tail lights.
The left passenger side is on. The driver's side is not on.
Tail lights, or the marker light?
Tail lights.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Left turn signal. Wait, gotta turn the key on.
Left turn signal works.
Right turn signal.
That works.
Brake lights.
Both work.
Okay. That's it for back there.
Okay then.
Well, you got the marker lights, right?
Right. So there's one missing back here, so we got to fix that. And the other marker light, no marker light.
Okay.
What's next?
All right. What's next? Let's see. Oh, we have side view mirrors.
Well, those work.
Or
Ow!
a rear view mirror. We have to have one or the other. We have both.
Okay.
We have redundant systems.
Yay!
Now let's take a look at the
Wiper
windshield
blades.
Wiper blades. They don't appear to be dry rotted. They seem to be like this one's okay.
Okay.
Let's look at
The other one. All right. So what am I looking for here?
Well, you're looking to see if it's dry, cracked, split, torn, or otherwise something that would make it unserviceable.
Okay. It
So
looks
it
fine.
seems to be okay.
It looks fine to me.
It sits on there okay.
Okay.
All right, so far so good. All right. The next thing we would need to check would be, is going to require a little setup.
What's the setup?
The setup is we need to get one of our floor jacks, and then we jack up one of the tires, and we check
One of the floor jacks over there?
That's a floor jack.
Okay.
We'll check the tie rod ends, and we'll check the ball joint. Now that we've got the front jacked up just on the one side, we're going to check the ball joint.
Okay.
Now, for all you would-be mechanics out there,
that would be me.
Several ways to do this, and you may do it differently, so I don't want to hear a bunch of stuff. This is how I do it, and this is how I learned to do it a very long time ago.
In other words, shut your yap. All right, so what do we do?
All right, so we've got, come on down here with me, Miles. Do we need extra light?
We might need an extra light.
All right,
fortunately, we have a light, you know, Larry.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
We have lots of them.
We have lots of lights.
All right, so we're checking this ball joint for excessive play.
Okay.
And you know what? While we're down here, this is your brake caliper, and that's what, you know, holds your brake pads and squeezes against your brake disc, which is this piece right here, and that stops the vehicle, hopefully. This is your half shaft or drive shaft, or I'm sure it's known by other names in other places. This is what takes the power from the transmission out to the hub, and that's what, since this is a front wheel drive vehicle, that's what makes your vehicle go on down the road.
Okay.
Okay, so back to where we were. We're checking this ball joint for excessive play. The ball joint attaches the steering knuckle, which holds all of that stuff, to the A-arm and keeps it from passing you as you go down the highway.
That would be
now,
bad.
if there's excessive play, that leads to sloppy steering, a lot of wandering, excessive tire wear, and a generally unsafe condition. Because if it gets really bad, I suppose that could break off, and then guess what?
We have problems.
We have problems. You're going down the road and you go, wow, look at that wheel rolling along. As you're making sparks going down the highway because everything's dragging on the road. So,
you see what I mean? He does get a little foghorn leghorn on me.
So what we're going to need, Mr. Miles, is that block of wood.
A block of wood.
A block of wood, and we will use the crowbar, if you would be so kind.
Okay, block of wood right
Block
there.
of wood.
And a crowbar just happens to be standing right here.
Okay.
So where do you want it?
Now, what we're going to do is we will put this block of wood under the tire. We'll put the crowbar under the tire. And then you push down on the crowbar. Do you want me to hold the camera while you do that?
So what am I looking for?
Okay, there it is. So here's the ball joint. That we're looking for is movement in the ball joint. Now we've got movement everywhere else, but I don't seem to see any in the ball joint itself.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Excellent.
All right. So
that we can check that one off the list.
we can check that off the list as being okay in my book, but the state inspector will have the final say.
Next on the list.
We'll check the tie rod end.
Okay.
That's the part that is responsible for connecting the steering gear. The tie rod ends, there's one internal and external on each side.
Okay.
That's responsible for connecting the steering gear to the steering knuckle, which makes the wheels go left and right. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with the wheels going round and round, round and round, like the bus. So,
okay. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So what we want to do is make sure there isn't excessive play in either the external or outer tie rod end or the internal tie rod end, which connects directly to the steering gear. And the way we check that, okay, we check the ball joints up and down.
Okay.
And kind of in and out. In this case, we want to check for play left and right.
Okay. Yeah, that might be good to get that out of the way.
Okay, so what you do is you grab hold of the side of the tires and basically push gently this way while feeling for movement.
Okay.
But not movement such that, you know, you're moving the whole wheel back and forth.
But rather to see whether or
as
not
though
there's
steering, but
any play in
just
the wheel.
Feel if there's any play. Well, the play would be a tie rod end looks and is built much like the ball joint.
Okay.
It's like a ball and socket sort of arrangement. Socket,
Yep.
ball,
Yep.
and then each of those has a bolt or a stud that comes out from it and goes through a corresponding hole
Okay.
in the steering knuckle. And then a bolt goes on that.
Okay.
Okay? So what we don't want is play here,
That would be bad.
like that.
that would be bad.
That needs to be tight. It's okay if the whole thing spins, but it shouldn't rock around.
Okay.
And later on, once we get this up on the lift where we can see a little bit better, we'll do more of an anatomy lesson on the tie rod ends.
Okay.
So for right now, we're gonna do this. And I feel, and you might even be able to see, a little bit of play right there. Now, I'm not sure if that's coming from the outside tie rod end or the inside tie rod end. And the only way to really tell that would be to get up in here and look at the outer tie rod end to see if there's movement, much the same way we looked for it on the ball joint.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to see that where the vehicle is at the moment.
So
but again, we'll
we
once
have
we
to
get it
put
on
it
the
up on the
lift,
lift.
we'll
Okay.
take a better look.
So-
but there's enough here that I don't think it's going to be an issue having, because right now we've got this one up in the air, but the other side is down on the ground to help stabilize it.
Okay.
And kind of isolate it to any play on this side of
Gotcha.
the vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. But there's enough there, I think, that it's not going to be a problem once we have it, the whole thing up on the lift.
So I have a silly question then. Why not? Hold on a second. Why not just put it up on the lift right now?
Well, because it's much easier to isolate where the play, if any, is coming from if it's not all four wheels off the ground.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
And sorry,
Hold
it also gives me an idea of what it feels like this way, isolated, and then it's easier to find and not confuse it with just general turning in the system
Fair enough.
later on.
Okay.
So at this point, we're going to let this side down, and then we'll go to the other side and do the exact same thing.
The ball joint and then the
Ball joint and tie rod end
Okay.
on the other side.
Basically, what I want to do at this point is, because I'm in the right position to do it, is I want to check the ball joint first for the tire. So I want to stick this under here, take my crowbar, and to check to see whether or not there's any play up or down in the ball joint. And where are we looking? Right there.
You want me to hold it while you...
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Is there any play there?
I do not see any play.
Excellent. Okay, so now we want to look at the look for the tie rod end.
Right.
And because we're all set up here, I think you might want to
Take
take that.
this out.
Okay. So how am I going to do this? Hold on a second.
Okay, gently.
Gently. Okay. I don't feel any looseness there. It's got a little bit of play on the just a small amount. It's not like heavily. And I know that we don't want the tire or the whole wheel to move. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for just a little bit of, well, we don't want wonkiness in the wheel. And I don't feel a whole lot there. It's just the tiniest amount.
Okay, let me look underneath. while you do that and see if I see anything. And if we do, then I'll bring the camera back and we'll...
Yeah, we can do it right there.
Okay.
Let's see what we can get there.
Let's... Okay. I don't think I see anything here on the outer tie rod end.
Okay.
Of course, you can't really... Well, give it another wiggle, Miles.
Give it another wiggle.
I said a wiggle, not a shake. I don't see anything happening here at the inner.
I don't feel anything.
Let me give it a feel.
All right, you give it a feel. You're the professional, sorta, kinda, the semi-pro.
All right. Turn your head and cough. No. I feel maybe a little bit of something. Now I wiggle a little more gently than Mr. Miles does, but I've done this a little bit. Let's see. While we're here, all joints okay. It could be it just in the wheel bearing. I think we're okay.
Okay.
On this side. But again, the state inspector has obviously
the final say. Okay.
All right.
So basically what you're telling me is so far the only hiccup that we found so far is let's see if I get this right. The left, driver's side tie rod is a little wonky. Is that?
I feel a little bit of
a little bit of play there.
Right.
Now I haven't actually done this, so I should probably do it myself. So does that mean we have to lift up this side? So we should have done it on the other side, but I'm gonna take his word for it that it's. I just wanted to feel it myself.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. We don't need to do it. No.
Actually, you should be able to, once we put it up on the lift.
Yeah.
You should be able to feel. You'll be able to feel the difference between that side and this side
instantaneously.
Even without having this tire on the ground.
Okay, so I'll take your word for it now. We'll do it later then. All right. So basically, where are we at? We've done all the inside stuff. We've checked all the lights, the wipers, the horns.
We know that we've got some corner marker lights out.
Yep.
And you say one of the tail lights is out.
Yep.
Okay. That could be bulbs, it could be wiring, it could be a fuse. We can investigate all that in due course, and that's why we do this now instead of waiting until then.
Okay.
And then we've got the inner or the outer, and once we get it on the lift, we can do more of an anatomy lesson on what's what.
Okay.
And then we've got a check engine light that we're going to have to address.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we knew about the check engine light when we bought the car.
Yes.
It was coding at that point, so we knew that there was going to be a check engine light.
Yes.
So that's nothing strange or out of the ordinary, but we don't know what it is, and we probably need the scanner for that. We'll talk about that later.
But while we're here, and you have that going, and you have our people's attention, we do need to look under the hood.
We do?
Yes.
For what?
Well, we got to make sure there's an engine in there. For starters, this ain't no Flintstone mobile. Okay.
So what are we looking for inside here, Mr. Larry?
What we're looking for in here is the power steering fluid, which should be over here. Do believe. Now that is, I believe that's our power steering fluid.
Okay,
so we're looking between maximum and minimum, and we're good
right in between
when it's cold. Okay. So that's good there. Well, I don't see any leaks here. Let me put the light on. Maybe that'll help.
Fortunately, we have light for that, Mr. Larry.
Well, we do, but you had it pointed a different direction. So, all right. Top side, I don't see any power steering leaks, and that would be a failure if there were. I see a little bit of engine oil, not a big deal. Let's see. Brake fluid, here we go.
That's the brake fluid
this is at least the reservoir. It's not the master cylinder, but it is the brake fluid reservoir, and we are between max and minimum right there.
Okay.
There's maximum, there's minimum, and we're pretty much right at the max line, so that's a good thing.
All right.
And I don't see any leaks. All the emissions equipment appears to be, what little there is, I think, on this engine, appears to be intact. All the belts are here. That's good. I think that's it for...
Okay.
Yes, the belts, sorry.
All right.
Yeah. In this case, we have a serpentine belt. Unlike some of the older vehicles that have multiple belts, this one appears to have just one.
Just the one belt. Okay. Do we need to check the transmission fluid and the oil?
That is not part of the state inspection.
Okay. I ask because I did a whole episode on the transmission of the Transit Connect, and we know how lovely that is. My Transit Connect has already had a transmission swap or replacement at about 30 to 40,000 miles ago. So we don't necessarily need to worry about that. But we should probably the way that I was looking at the engine the checklist is that we probably want to change out the oil because it's been sitting a while. Is that
That would be a maintenance issue, not
an inspection.
State inspection. It's mostly the state inspection has to do with safety.
Okay.
They don't care if you run cod liver oil, motor oil, or no oil in your vehicle.
All right, fair enough.
They just don't want it to hurt somebody else going down the road.
Done. All right. So we'll save this for later and the transmission fluid for later. So is there anything else in here aside from the check engine light that we need to look at?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
Start it up.